Most people spend their entire lives lost in thought, replaying the past, worrying about the future, and never once truly experience the present moment. Studies in mindfulness research suggest that the average human mind wanders nearly half of every waking hour. 50% of your life, gone. Not to experience, not to connection, not to actual living, but to mental noise you never even chose to think. That is the crisis Eckhart Tolle wrote The Power of Now to solve. In the next 10 minutes, you will discover exactly why your mind is your greatest obstacle, how a single moment of awareness can change everything, and the one insight at the heart of this book that most people completely misunderstand. Tolle makes a claim so simple it sounds almost insulting at first, that the present moment is the only place life ever actually happens. But the deeper you go into this book, the more you realize how radical and transformative that idea truly is. Stay with this, because the most counterintuitive idea comes later. Eckhart Tolle published The Power of Now in 1997. It was initially self-published after being rejected by numerous publishers who did not know what to do with it. Within a few years, it had sold millions of copies and become one of the most influential spiritual books of the modern era. By the time Oprah Winfrey featured it on her show in the early 2000s, it had already quietly changed the lives of hundreds of thousands of readers worldwide. Today it has sold over 10 million copies and been translated into more than 50 languages. Tolle himself had a remarkable origin story for the ideas in this book. By his late 20s, he was living in a state of severe depression and anxiety. Then one night, at age 29, he experienced what he described as a sudden and total inner transformation. He woke up in the middle of the night consumed by an unbearable feeling of dread. A thought arose: he could not live with himself any longer. And then suddenly he asked himself, who is the self that I cannot live with? That question cracked something open. He realized there were two of him, the thinking mind, and the awareness behind it. That awareness was at peace. That awareness was always present. And that awareness, Tolle argues, is who you really are. The central premise of The Power of Now is deceptively simple. Psychological suffering is caused almost entirely by your relationship with time. Not time as in deadlines and schedules, but psychological time, your mental habit of living either in memories of the past or projections of the future. Tolle argues that pain, anxiety, regret, and fear all require time to exist. You cannot feel guilty about something happening right now in this exact instant. You cannot feel anxious about this precise present moment. All anxiety is about the future. All guilt is about the past. Which means the present moment is, in fact, always okay. But here is what nobody talks about: the present moment is not just a relaxation technique or a stress management tool. Tolle frames it as an encounter with your deepest nature. He calls it being. Not a religious concept exactly, but the underlying aliveness that exists before thought. When you stop identifying with the constant stream of mental commentary in your head and instead rest in simple awareness, you touch something Tolle calls the now. And he says this is the only place where real intelligence, real creativity, and real peace can emerge. Tolle introduces one of the book's most powerful concepts early on: the pain body. He describes the pain body as an accumulation of old emotional pain that lives in both the body and the mind. It is not metaphorical. He means there is an energetic residue of every unprocessed emotion you have ever experienced, and that residue can be triggered by people, situations, or even random thoughts. The pain body feeds on drama, negativity, and conflict. When it activates, it hijacks your thinking and makes you identify completely with a story of suffering. Recognizing the pain body as something separate from your true self, simply observing it without judgment, begins to dissolve its power over you. This brings us to one of the most practical tools in the entire book. Tolle says the single most powerful practice you can develop is to become the observer of your own mind. Not to stop thinking, that is impossible and not the point. But to notice that you are thinking. To create a small gap of awareness between you and the thought. He asks readers, can you watch your next thought arise? Most people find they cannot answer that question because the moment they try to watch for the next thought, there is a pause. The watching itself creates space. That space is presence. That space is the now. Tolle also draws a sharp distinction between clock time and psychological time. Clock time is practical and necessary. You use clock time to plan a trip, meet a deadline, or learn from past mistakes. That is functional and healthy. Psychological time is different. It is when your mind leaves the present not for a practical reason but out of compulsive habit, endlessly rehearsing grievances, catastrophizing about the future, building identity out of your personal history. Tolle says most human suffering comes from this single compulsive habit of psychological time travel. What does it actually feel like to be present, in Tolle's terms? He describes it as a kind of alert stillness. Your senses are sharp. Your thinking is clear. There is no background noise of self-commentary. You are simply here, doing what you are doing, and there is a quiet sense of rightness to it. He says this state is actually your natural state, the one most people have glimpsed during moments of deep flow, creative absorption, or moments in nature where the mind suddenly goes quiet. The Power of Now argues that this state is available all the time, not just in peak experiences. But here is what nobody talks about when they summarize this book. Tolle is not asking you to be passive or to stop engaging with life. Presence does not mean you stop planning, stop caring, or stop working toward goals. It means you do all of those things from a foundation of inner stillness rather than from anxiety or compulsion. The quality of your actions changes entirely when they come from presence rather than from fear. You become more effective, not less. More creative, not less. More genuinely connected to others, not less. Tolle also addresses relationships directly and controversially. He argues that most human relationships are dysfunctional at their core because people bring their pain body, their unconscious compulsions, and their ego needs into their closest connections. They expect their partner, friend, or family member to complete them, to fix the inner sense of incompleteness that only presence can truly resolve. This is why the same relationship patterns repeat across generations and across different partners. The external situation changes. The inner unconsciousness does not. The real-world implications of this book go far beyond meditation retreats or spiritual seeking. Research in neuroscience has since begun to validate many of Tolle's observations. Studies on mindfulness-based stress reduction show measurable changes in the brain's default mode network, the system responsible for mind-wandering and self-referential rumination, after consistent mindfulness practice. Harvard studies have shown that people report being less happy when their minds are wandering, regardless of what they are wandering to. The science is catching up to what Tolle described experientially in 1997. The key takeaways from The Power of Now come down to this. First, your mind is not you. It is a tool, and most people have become its servant rather than its master. Second, all psychological suffering requires time and requires your identification with thought. Third, the present moment is always available and always okay at its deepest level. Fourth, becoming the observer of your own mind is a skill you can develop starting immediately. And fifth, presence is not a retreat from life, it is full engagement with life at its most real and most alive. Eckhart Tolle did not write a self-help book in the conventional sense. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to Book Notes Daily for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.